Thanks so much for tuning into this earnings interaction, amongst the first ones that we are doing this quarter, and we're doing it with Mr. Hardik Debar of Delta Corp. They came out with the numbers yesterday. You understand that the stock is closer to the levels of about 215 odd, with a 52-week high of 340 and a 52-week low of 162. Sales on a quarter-on-quarter basis were up about 8%. YOY obviously was a very high jump, but that is to be anticipated because of a depressed quarter the last time. And similar numbers, you could argue, on the EBITDA front as well, which at 100 crores is up about 630% YOY and up 14% QOQ. Let's get in Mr. Debar to talk about how he thinks the quarter went by and what could be arguably one of the strongest quarters of the year could dish out as we enter or as we are in the midst of quarter three. Hardik, great having you. Thanks for joining in. Some of the quarter for us, obviously YOY looked good, but QOQ, were you happy with the 9% top line growth, though the EBITDA numbers fared even better than what that 9% top line growth suggested?
Hi, Neeraj. Thanks for having us on air. One has to look at it in a more rational manner, so to say. If you look at the 251 crores that we registered in June, that itself was a kind of a landmark number. So you're surpassing a landmark with another landmark. So you can't keep on growing 20% quarter on quarter. I would love to do that, but that is not going to happen in any business, so to say. But having said that, breaking a landmark, achieving a new landmark immediately the subsequent quarter after, I think that itself is very good. What I am happy about is the fact the resilience the business has shown, and the fact that we've bounced back. And if you then go back to 2019 or 2019-20, the financial year, these are historical numbers. If you look at the history of Delta, this is the best revenue ever that we have clocked in a particular quarter. And if you look at the 6 months, these are the best 6 months that Delta Corp in its history has clocked. So, from that perspective, we are at a different pedestal. And, it's a launch pad. And like you rightly said, the second quarter every year historically has been a trend-setting quarter. It sets the trend, it sets the momentum, it sets the tone, and then we move into the busy season from a Goa perspective. And we believe that the quarter momentum only gets better with October, November, December, and will continue into the rest of the year. So I think from a trajectory perspective and a direction perspective, we are very happy.
Now, I'll add a bit to Delta Corp's revenues in the third quarter because I'll be in Goa, Hardik. But be that as it may, let's talk about whether the trends as they look right now. It's too early. It's just 10 days into October. But are the feelers of the casino business and the hospitality business in Goa, as well as the hospitality business in the other parts, are the sound bites, are the bookings, because I'm guessing people have to advance book these days. We have had to do that. Are the advance bookings, etc., indicating that Q3 will be strong?
November, December obviously is always, just post Diwali and then continuing into the Christmas and the New Year is always going to be the period that one looks at. Historically, what we have observed that Diwali, the week of Diwali, is always a very, very slow kind of a thing because people tend to be with families, attend family functions, family parties, etc. So that week of Diwali typically is a dull week, so to say. But other than that, the balance days in October are looking fine. The run rate is looking absolutely good. And we are very, very positive given what we know always happens post Diwali and continuing to December. I think we are in for a good quarter is what we can expect and estimate.
Okay. Now, when I looked at quarter two on a sequential basis, casino revenues did about 9%, if I'm not wrong. Online gaming, double digits. Hospitality revenue declined. Is it because of the monsoon quarter largely?
So this is typically the slow quarter when it comes to hospitality. You will see that also picking up very well in the coming quarter. Okay. And obviously will continue in the fourth quarter and the first quarter again, because that fourth quarter will be muted compared to the third quarter, given that you go into the exam season and stuff like that. And again, then the first quarter of the following financial year, you will have the vacation time coming in again, and you will again see the visitations and the FIDs and everything pick up again.
And yet you've clocked in EBITDA margins which are northwards of 35%, 37% if I'm not wrong, to be precise. Now, put this into perspective, and do you reckon that with a busy season, better operating leverage, etc., you can scale up upon these margins? Are these, Hardik, the kind of margins that you would want to maintain or improve upon as things move ahead?
So, Neeraj, it's a known fact that it's a very, very high operating leverage business. And when I talk of operating leverage, I'm talking more from the casino gaming perspective.
Yes. Yes.
To give you a very, very quick flavor of that, 251 crores June quarter, 274 crores September quarter is the revenue that we've done on the gaming bit. Now, if you look at the EBITDAs, 93 crores versus 111 crores is what 110 crores is what we've achieved. Now, if you compare it from the revenue growth to the translation into EBITDA, you will see that for every rupee that we add in the revenue, once we have crossed that threshold number, 55 to 60% of every rupee added gets added to the profitability. So that's the kind of operating leverage that we are looking at. And therefore, if we are able to achieve the same cost levels and continue into the next quarter, barring a few marketing and sales promotion activity that we need to do given the December and the busy season. But if we are more or less on the same numbers and we are able to achieve a higher top line, 60%, 70% of that will get translated into profitability. To answer your question more pointedly, 37% is on the up, and it's growing from where we were if you look at 6 months ago or maybe even last year. Despite on the low cost base, we had margins which were subdued given that we were not operational for a substantial part of the year. We were in the 32, 33%. We've gone to 37%, and I believe on a steady state basis, everything goes well, this could move further up.
Okay. Now, a couple of Goa questions. Then I want a question on the upcoming IPO as well, and how would it benefit Delta Corp? If at all, it would be lovely to lay it out for us in plain black and white. But before that, you're trying multiple things in Goa. I've lost track of how many things are happening on the Delta Corp front on the Goa development. So tell us give us a status update of sorts.
So a couple of things that are very crucial from the gaming perspective. One, which is already in the public domain, and therefore I can easily share it, is that we are in the process of launching a new vessel. That vessel should be up and ready, hopefully by September of next year. And since anyways till September you can't get the vessel in because of the sandbar formation in the river, we hope that by the third quarter of next financial year, we should have a new vessel which will be something one of its kind again. You've always known Delta Corp to do things which sets the bar to the next level, and this would be again setting the bar at a much higher level than the competition. And I think that will not only benefit us in terms of continuing with the momentum, but we'll able to grow the revenues and grow the momentum even more, given that we'll be adding large capacities that will take away a lot of constraints that we have during the busy weekends and the long holiday stretches that we come across, and where we are faced with a bit of a capacity issue, so to say, which is a happy situation to be in, Neeraj. But you don't want that situations coming in too often in a month, in a quarter, in a year. And I think with this new vessel, we should be able to take care and address that conclusively for the foreseeable near future. And that will help us grow our revenues even better and stronger. In addition to that, we've spoken about a integrated resort that we have been planning just off the Mopa airport, the new airport that's coming up in Goa. That's obviously a 4 or 5 year project. We have got all the approvals. We've gone through the GIPB route, which is the Investment Promotion Board route, to get a single window clearance mechanism in place, which will do away and cut off a lot of the red tapeism, wherever there is involved. Having said that, but that's a 5 year outlay, 4 to 5 year outlay. So these are the two main things that we are looking at as far as Goa is concerned. But I think the next big kicker or trigger, if one may say so, would be the new vessel, which should be in operations, God willing, and hopefully, like I said, by the third quarter of next financial year.
Non-Goa, Hardik?
Non-Goa, we are in Sikkim. Sikkim's doing reasonably well. we were clocking a crore and a quarter. Now that average is, or the run rate is almost doubled. We are doing about 2.5 crores on a monthly basis there, which is a growth. Nepal, after having launched, it faced the longest of the lockdowns, about 15, 18, 20 months almost. Now it's been again back in action and operations, and we are doing about 3.5 to 4 crores a month on Nepal. And both these places, once the tourism activity and the connectivity again all improves, connectivity from a Sikkim perspective and tourism scenario from a Nepal perspective, once it gets better, we could see further additions to the numbers happening here. Daman, obviously, there is a writ petition that is going on. The matter is in the High Court. We are on the weekly board every day, but given the nature and the backlog of the cases, we've not yet been lucky enough to get a hearing. But since it's there on everyday basis, we believe that we should get a chance to. And this is the final hearing. So once the matter is heard, we should have some conclusive direction on Daman as well. The hotel in Daman is doing touchwood very well. It's not only breaking even, but even post depreciation is adding to the revenue. So I think we are overall doing reasonably well.
Okay, I think one final question, and that's on the IPO of a sister concern, if I can call it that. So fill us in on. Yeah, so fill us in on the details, and what does, I don't know what kind of details you can share, but also lay it out for us. How would it impact the listed entity once it gets listed, and what will you do with the monies, etc., and all of that?
Two parts. We filed the DRHP. We've got the final approval from SEBI, which permits us to embark to the next step of trying to conduct the road shows, get a market assessment, and then depending on the feedback and the feelers that we get from the market, we would be in the readiness to launch immediately. So we are hoping to do that activity in the next month and a half, and God willing, we'll have some more news and clarity on that going forward. With regards to the issue details, we are looking at, since the DRHP is out there and it's in public domain, there's no harm sharing. It's a combination of primary issue and an offer for sale. So Delta's kind of diluting its stake. Currently, it's a 100% subsidiary, but it will continue to remain a subsidiary from a Delta perspective. It will continue to get consolidated with Delta Corp. So really, in that sense of the term, I don't think there is too much of a difference from a Delta perspective, except for a fact that Delta will be able to realize some of its investment value that it had made way back in 2017. We will be able to encash a little bit of value for the shareholders of Delta. Of course, there is a use for that money, which I already explained in form of the two projects that Delta has embarked upon. So that money will go to good use and will fetch hopefully much higher and much better returns for the shareholders at large. With the balance amount of about 300 odd crores that we raise for the company, that becomes a war chest for both inorganic growth opportunities if we come across any, and plus to plow back all that money and utilize that money for branding, sales promotion, activation, customer acquisition, and to be able, and with that to continue the momentum of growth that we have seen, having now started focusing on the branding and the sales promotion activity over the last 6-8 months. So if you look at the numbers, Neeraj, we've been doing about 40, 42, 43 crores a quarter. That has jumped up to about 50, 51 crores this quarter. And with all this money coming in and the RBD available, we would be able to not only continue this momentum of growth, but I think we should be able to grow even faster.
Okay. 300 crores for inorganic opportunities that may come, or stuff that you have in your mind, but you need the monies for that? Any short list?
The thing that is very visible at this point of time, but given the fact that there are multiple players in the sector and the businesses now, consolidation is going to definitely happen, and therefore one needs to be ready with that kind of availability. And please appreciate, in addition to the 300 crores that we get, we also get a liquid currency in form of a listed stock. So the opportunities to grow inorganically open up multifold.
Most certainly. Well, I think we wish you all the best for that. Have a great third quarter and the festive season around it, and we look forward to talking to you around the IPO or otherwise.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thanks. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, and viewers, thanks for tuning into this conversation on Q2 earnings with Delta Corp.